Jenny. As many rounds as possible in 10 minutes. Athletes will complete the prescribed number of reps as a team. Athletes will pair with the same gender to begin the workout. Reps may only be completed while one pair is in a partner-assisted handstand. Each rep starts from the ground and finishes with the athlete standing with the barbell on her shoulders, hips and knees fully extended. Muscle cleans, power cleans, and full squat cleans are all acceptable. Common faults include not fully extending the hips or the knees at the top of the rep. The bar starts in the front rack position. The athlete brings the bar from the front rack to a fully extended overhead position, utilizing one of four methods: the strict press, the push press, the push jerk, and the split jerk. Common faults include not fully extending the knees, hips, and/or elbows at the top, and not showing control or a full recovery once the lift is finished. The snatch begins with the barbell on the ground and finishes with the athlete standing, weight overhead, and elbows, hips, and knees fully extended. The rep will be counted once the athlete clearly shows control of the barbell overhead. Muscle, power, and full squat snatches are all acceptable. Common faults include lowering the bar before knees and hips are fully extended, not locking out at the top, and not showing control at the finish of the movement. The burpee muscle up starts with the athlete's chest and hips touching the ground. At the top, the elbows must fully lock out while supporting the athlete above the rings. A kipping muscle up is allowed. Common faults include not fully extending the elbows at the top of the muscle up. The burpee pull-up begins with the athlete's chest and hips on the ground and finishes with the athlete's chin breaking both the vertical and the horizontal plane of the pull-up bar. Either the men or the women begin with the cleans, dividing the reps anyhow. While that pair is alternating work, the third teammate is in a handstand hold, and the fourth teammate is supporting the handstanding athlete. Pairs may swap between handstand holds and working through the prescribed movement at any time, but in order for a repetition to count, one athlete must be in a handstand hold, and the other athlete must be supporting the handstanding athlete. The team progresses through each of the movements in this manner, completing all 86 cleans before moving on to the next movement. There are only two acceptable means of supporting the handstanding athlete. The first is by holding onto the athlete's legs at or below the knee. The second is extending one arm to provide a rail upon which the athlete may lean his legs, again, at or below the knee. No other part of the supporting athlete's body may come into contact with any other part of the handstanding athlete's body. The team score is the total number of reps completed in 10 minutes. The tiebreaker is the time at which the first round of cleans is completed. Taming of the POD. In 10 minutes, your team will complete 25 synchronized team burpees, followed by an infinity kettlebell snatch ladder. Athletes start in a line, alternating male-female next to their kettlebells. Burpees are synchronized when the athletes are coming down to and up from the ground at the same time. The kettlebell snatch begins with the kettlebell on the ground and finishes with the weight overhead, fist over the shoulder, and elbow, knees, and hips fully extended. The athlete must show control at the top of the movement. Common faults include not coming to full extension of the knees, hips, or elbow at the top of the lift, and not showing control. The first athlete snatches 2 reps on one side, followed by 2 reps on the other side. Once the first athlete has placed the kettlebell back on the ground, the second athlete may proceed with his or her reps, 2 on each side. It continues down the line accordingly. The next athlete in line may not pick up his or her kettlebell until the athlete prior has set his or hers down. Once the athlete has completed 2 reps on each side, the work transfers back to the first athlete in line, who will then complete 4 reps on one side, followed by 4 reps on the other. It continues down the line again, increasing by 2 reps each round until the 10-minute cap. If at any point during the kettlebell snatches a weight is dropped, the athletes must stop what they're doing and perform 10 synchronized burpees. An athlete drops his kettlebell when his hands break contact with the weight before it is safely on the ground. The team score is the total number of kettlebell snatches completed by the team. The tiebreaker is the time in which the synchronized burpees are completed. Cindy's day off. As many rounds as possible in 10 minutes. Each of the 3 gymnastics movements may be performed by a different athlete, but doesn't need to be. Once you begin a movement, you must complete it, and work must transfer from male to female or female to male. While the athletes work to complete as many rounds as possible, the team will simultaneously work to accumulate as many calories as possible in the same amount of time. At the bottom of the chest-to-bar pull-up, arms must be fully extended. At the top, the chest, meaning any point below the clavicle, must clearly come into contact with the bar. Common faults in the chest-to-bar pull-up include the athlete's chest not making clear and direct contact with the bar at the top. For the regular pull-up, the movement begins with the athlete's elbows fully extended at the bottom and the chin crossing the horizontal and the vertical plane at the top of the pull-up. Common faults of the regular pull-up include the athlete's elbows not coming to full extension at the bottom and the chin not crossing the vertical and the horizontal plane at the top. The handstand push-up starts with the arms locked out and the feet against the wall. The head clearly touches the mat or floor and ends with the elbows extended with just the feet touching the wall. The athlete shows control at the top. Kipping is allowed as long as you end with your feet touching the wall at the top of the movement. Common faults include not touching the mat or the floor with your head, not locking out at the top of the handstand push-up, and not finishing the movement with your feet touching the wall in a controlled manner. The hand release push-up starts with the body straight and the arms locked out. The athlete must lift her hands at the bottom of the push-up. It ends with the arms locked out and body straight. Common faults include not lifting the hands at the bottom of the push-up and not locking out at the top of the push-up. The pistol begins and ends with the athlete standing, the hip fully open and the knee fully locked out on the squatting leg. The hip must pass below parallel at the bottom of the rep, and the opposite foot cannot touch the ground until the rep is completed. The non-supporting foot must remain in front of the supporting foot during the entire movement. You may hold the foot of the opposite leg with your hand while performing the pistol. Athletes must alternate legs after each repetition. Common faults of the pistol include not traveling below parallel at the bottom of the rep, not extending the hip at the top, and not showing control once the rep is finished. The air squat begins and ends with the athlete standing and the hips and knees fully extended. The hips must pass below parallel at the bottom of the rep. Common faults include not passing below parallel at the bottom of the rep and not fully opening the hips at the top. Each team will be allowed the use of one erg, meaning that one athlete may be rowing to accumulate calories, while the rest of the athletes are completing the gymnastics movements. Work on the rower may transfer anyhow. Your team's score is the total number of reps completed in the 10-minute AMRAP, added to the total number of calories rowed. The tiebreaker is the total number of calories rowed. Please post questions to Facebook by 10 p.m. on Friday night. We wish all of our competitors good luck as we head into the second week of competition.